Okay, so I'm gonna get a little, okay, turn up the volume. A little cheesy here, but I am, like, seriously ready for fall. Actually, cheesy on the right word. More like, probably more, I don't know what the word is for this, but I know that everybody's probably thinking this. So this is nothing new. But I am ready for, I am anticipating fall. Like, I'm feeling fall or autumn. I prefer saying autumn rather than fall. Because I'm trying to be all classy and intellectual. And I feel like autumn is a nicer sounding word than fall. But I am just, I am ready for that. I mean, having a job where, like, you have to go outside, get all the cars that have been scattered around the parking lot. Well, okay, not all of them have been scattered, but there are a handful of cars that the customers don't like putting back in the corrals. And okay, half of them are old people, so I guess maybe it's hard for them to move and bring them all the way back there, but it just drives me crazy because I'm one of the people who has to go collect them and put them back in the corral or bring them back up to the front into the lobby area. And that's not, and when you're trying to bring back several carts, ideally 4 carts, and it's hot, like it's 90 degrees, and you're trying to get in, like, and you're hungry, but you're trying to get in as much work as you can before you finally decide to take your break. It's not fun, and it makes me more inclined to want the chilly weather, or at least cool weather. And that's not here. And plus, as I'm getting older, and like I said, I've figured out that it's because I'm getting older, and the whole summer doesn't mean as much to me. I mean, yes, I still go on vacations with my family and friends, and I still use the pool and stuff. And but it's not, the summer doesn't mean as much to me, as an adult. Like, I want the chilly weather. I want to, I want, like, to me it's fun to just, and I'm sure to most people on BookTube, at least half of the people on BookTube, it's fun for them to, well, no, geez, not most people on BookTube, most probably, they actually are content with just sitting at home and opening the book and, getting in, getting, like, cozied up and have a book in your hand and drinking something hot, like hot chocolate or something, and just sitting there, and just the warm colors, and there's that chill in the air, and then Halloween is like right around the corner. I miss that. I'm waiting for that. I am anticipating that. Where is that feel? I mean, I'm feeling it, and this is where I'm getting the sentimental part. Isn't feeling in my heart, but it's hot. Like, I went to class today this morning, and I was wearing this long sleeve shirt thinking, oh, it's only in the 70s, so I'll be okay. But now it feels like it's the 80s, and I was so hot. And I'm mostly wearing black jeans and socks, footy socks, because I'm like, I want the chilly weather. And so, like, now I've just put on Dead Poet Society, which is one of my favorite Robin Williams movies. Like, it's funny, I mean, I love his comedies, but I also really love his serious, more dramatic roles, like Good Will Hunting and Dead Poet Society. They're some of my favorite movies. Although I like his dramas more than I like Jim Carrey's dramas. Although I do love Jim Carrey's dramas, scratch that. Rewind. I prefer his dramas over his comedies, while with Jim Carrey, it's the other way. With Jim Carrey, well, okay, I'm totally messing this up here. Scratch, erase, and forget I said all that. Okay, so both Jim Carrey and Robin Williams, sometimes I prefer their dramatic roles over their comedic roles. Like, I'm more selective with their comedic roles. Well, I'm more selective with Jim Carrey's comedic roles than I am with Robin Williams' comedic roles. That's the problem with Jim Carrey, is a lot, like, his most famous comedic roles are, like, Dumb and Dumber and Ace Ventura. And I don't, I mean, I like Ace Ventura. a little bit better than Dumb and Dumber. In fact, I can't stand Dumb and Dumber. I feel like it's one of those movies where I wanted to say I've seen it. But, and and like I said, I like Ace Ventura, the Ace Ventura franchise, but then it's like one of those movies that, like, you watch it when you just are, like, bored, and it happens to be on, and you're just in the mood for a laugh, a silly little stupid laugh. I am so particular when it comes to comedy movies. But anyway, so I am just in the autumn mood, and it's hard to get into I prefer saying the word autumn, but it just, out of habit, it's easier to say fall than autumn, because I've always said fall. But, like I said, I've come to realize that I kind of like the sound of the term of autumn over fall. I don't, so, so I've decided that I'm going to take a leaf from, some other booktubers like Jesse the Reader, and just do videos each week where I talk about what I'm currently reading, which I've kind of done that a little bit. And I would do like weekend reads, but the weekend is over as of yesterday, so it's kind of a little too late, and I forgot about filming the video. If I don't film for a few days or a week, then I might forget to do one. So I'm just going to try to tell you guys what I'm currently reading, what I'm going to read this week. Okay, so first, let me share with you the next book we start for class today is Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, which she's already assigned us. I was supposed to read the foreword, and I did start to read the foreword, but then I was like, forget this. This is too long. This is too much. There should be, like, a restriction on how long a foreword should be. It's basically this arrogant author talking about how he, like, giving you a history lesson on the book and the time period. It's like, okay, I really don't care. Of course, this is a class, so maybe there's stuff in that's important to the book and everything. But right now, I'm gonna risk not reading it. I read a little bit. I know it's during the Romantic period, and it's boring. But anyway, from what I do not know, unlike Beowulf, I don't have any background knowledge of this book. I just know that it's from, now my information comes from what I just learned, what she just told us in class today, that this is about, it's an epic poem like Beowulf, and it's a quest story where this character from Sir Gawain, who is Gawain from Arthurian legends, he must face the Green Knight, who came to challenge one of Arthur's knights, and is all like, okay, if I let you slay me with this big heavy axe, then in a year, you have to let me do the same for you. And he's going on this quest, and he's meeting all these, and apparently he's going to encounter all these other, like in any quest story, he's going to encounter all these other entities and all these other kinds of obstacles and stuff like that. But like I said, I'm not familiar with it, so I don't know anything except for what I just learned. And like I said, it's an epic poem like Beowulf. It might even be longer than Beowulf. I don't know. Well, maybe not. Maybe about the same. And so far, all we read is, like, we were technically supposed to read the foreword. But we also, so far I read up to when the Green Knight shows up at this feast held by King Arthur, and he makes his challenge. And that's as far as I got to. So I don't really have any strong thoughts, any strong opinions or thoughts on the book. I'm worried that because I don't have the only background knowledge I have is what I was just told by the teacher today. I'm worried that I'll have a harder time with this one than the other one, because at least with the other one, with Beowulf, I had some previous knowledge of the book. So we'll see how this goes for my class. Hopefully we'll read it out loud as a class together, and she will kind of go over things. But she also today, before we started reading, she wanted us to watch this movie that was kind of about the same, was kind of around the same time period, about the same kind of thing, called Ivanhoe. And I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. But unfortunately, she could not figure out how to set up the movie so we could watch it. So we just got our test back. She explained why we got things wrong, and I'm surprised because and this is the test for Beowulf, and I'm surprised I actually got a B on it. I thought I was gonna get a C, or I even was worried that I might get worse than a C, like a D, but no, I got a B. So I was very a low B, I think, but still, I mean, it's a B. I think it was a low B. I think it was like an 82%. I think. So, but still, I mean, it's a B. So it's good enough for me. So yeah, I just need to be better at taking notes. It's very hard to take notes, you know, because you're just trying to understand what you're reading, which, yeah, that's why you take notes in the first place, but you're just trying to also follow along with the reading. And then I'm going to, okay, well, before I show you these two other books, I'm almost done with The Cruel Prince by Holly Black, and I'm really enjoying it. I can understand why everybody loves it, why it got so much hype when it first came out. I really enjoy Holly Black's approach to fairies. It's a little bit closer to how fairies really are, or how they originally were in mythology. I like the distinctive personalities of the three sisters. Although I was kind of surprised because one of the sisters, Taryn, to me, the impression I got from her at first was she was the sweet, nice one, the cautious one, the one who was like, we don't want to anger these people, we don't want to take any risk, and the one who wants to hide is just really sweet and stuff. And then, damn, that girl, I mean, she was such a bitch. She did a bitch move to her sister. It's like, wow. I mean, part of me wonders if maybe she couldn't warn Jude of what was going on. She couldn't exactly warn her. But still, I'm still kind of pissed at her. But I love that Holly Black did that. I think that was so cool because you don't, I mean, I don't know about anyone else, but for me, I did not expect that to happen. I did not anticipate Taryn would do something like that. Would, do that to Jude. So, which, in this case, yeah, as personally, it kind of pisses me off. It's like, what the hell? And I feel like she's acting like, well, Jude, you asked for this. Like, doesn't want to admit that what she did was a messed up move, and that I'm not saying that Jude is guiltless, but she's thinking, and I'm not saying, and maybe she's right about Jude to an extent, but she's acting like it's all Jude's fault. Like, she asked for this. And how does she know what her sister's thinking? And on the one hand, if I were, like, I have mixed feelings, because on the one hand, as a reader, I'm like, this is really good and interesting, it's giving me strong emotions and everything, that's what writers should do, authors should do, but then on the other, how I am my emotional, as the person trying to be, I think it's good, but I also think it's good writing, but then I think emotionally I'm like, why? Why'd you do this to me? And it's, those characters that are like, you asked for this. Now, I mean, in a real life situation, I'd be even more pissed. But, I also know it's fiction, and it just makes a good, interesting story. But I hate it when characters are like, you asked for this, or it's your fault, or you should have known better, or, when a character is trying and struggling, and realizes that she's struggling with the decisions that he or she's making, but then everybody else throws it in their face and mocks them for it, or is like, doesn't necessarily mock them for it, but is like, you asked for this, or you made this bad choice, so you are completely at fault here, and, they're not taking any credit whatsoever. It's like they're ganging up on the person who made the bad choice. and making them feel even more horrible. Now, the good news is Judah's a strong person, and she's confident and tough, and I think she's embracing her dark role and the role that everyone's saying she has, which is not necessarily a good thing, but, I mean, it's like, well, you kind of made her this way. You did this. I mean, not to say, of course, and I can say that because I'm just the reader here. I'm not a character in the story. But it's like, the whole idea of, I mean, that, guess what? You made the monster. You know? It's kind of like the whole Frankenstein shtick here. The whole idea of Dr. Frankenstein, who's the worst person? The creature? Or Dr. Frankenstein himself? It's like, yeah, the creature is monstrous, is considered ugly, and he's done a lot of things that really, he's killed people and everything, but it's like, well, you kind of created this mess yourself. So I feel like it's kind of one of those situations. You know, you created the monster. But anyway, I don't know what Judy's gonna do next, and I have such mixed feelings about Cardin. I like him as a character; he's definitely interesting. But as my personal feelings are concerned, but then as a person, I mean, although he's technically not a person, well, I guess I don't know what you call Fae people, but it's the only word because I don't like saying the word being because when I say being, it comes off as a bean instead of being. I always get tongue-tied with that word. But anyway, I hope this thing doesn't stop. Because if I have my DVD/ Blu-ray player on pause for too long, it will stop itself. And I don't like that. It bugs me. But as long as I keep the disc in the machine, then I don't have to start over and look for the scene or anything. If I take it out, then yeah, I have to look for the scene. But anyway, sorry, sidetracked, as usual. But I have such mixed feeling. Like, I think he's a good character, an interesting and entertaining character. It makes for good drama. And on the one hand, I'm like, well, I don't know why he's a love interest. He's such an asshole. But then on the other hand, I'm like, actually, it's really, not only does it make for good drama, but him and Jude actually are kind of hot, you know, and they make for a good, I think I could see them having kind of a Bonnie and Clyde thing going on in the next book. If he's around. I mean, I'm guessing that they're probably gonna live. I mean, I don't know if any characters are gonna die. But but yeah, I definitely think it's gonna be kind of a Bonnie and Clyde situation. Or like a very toxic, messed up relationship, like they're drawn to each other and trying each other, and maybe in a twisted way they love each other. But they're not necessarily good for each other. Like, they corrupt each other. But I will say this for Cardin. He is definitely better than Locke. I mean, I had a feeling that Locke was going to end up being a douchebag. You know? And so I have my suspicions and I do not trust him. I don't trust him one bit. So I do think that Cardin is probably a lot better of a prince than he is. I don't know, I can't remember if Locke is a prince or not. I think he's a noble. I think his mom was a noble woman. I think his family was just nobles and his mom was a consort. That's right. I just read that his mom was a consort to the king, to the High King. That's right. So in a way, I guess. Oh, yep. There it goes. It stopped itself. So yeah, I guess in a way, it's kind of the equivalent to a noble, or like in Arabian, Middle Eastern culture, the Sultan has a bunch of lovers, women in his harem, and they're treated really good. They have a good life. Although I don't know, I would have to ask my best friend, my best friend Terry. But I don't know if they would have if they could have other kids or whatever. But anyway, what else? There was one more thing I wanted to say about the book. One more thought I had. What was it? So I'm wondering, concerning the direction it's going now, I wonder how I cannot say their name. I am having such trouble with names of the books I'm reading this week, but that's what you get for fantasy books. The names are hard. I think that's why there are some people that don't like reading fantasy, because the names are really hard to pronounce them, to figure out how you're supposed to say them. But I wonder what the relationship between Jude and her adopted mother is going to be like in the next book, if she lives in this book, with what decision Jude is about to make, her at the end, the action she's going to take. Because it seemed like they're starting to be okay with each other. I mean, she's still kind of judgmental of Jude and her sisters, that because they're human, but Jude is starting to realize that that comes from a very, not just the, oh, you're a silly little human, you're an embarrassment to us, but I'm stuck with you. But there's more to it, like a lot of, there's definitely more to it, more to Orana's character. So I'm definitely wondering what their relationship is going to be like in the next book. So I think I am going to read it at some point. I don't know when, if I'm going to get it from the if I'm going to wait until it comes down the library, but that means I'll have to probably wait a year. But, I mean, I might need to buy both books. If I could find, although even if I do find, I would have to be able to find both the Cruel Prince and the other one at the used bookstore. Because it's like, on the one hand, I really like it, but I'm coming to realize once I've gone books from the library and read them, it's like I have to decide, do I really want to buy them, and will I want to read them again and again? But as of right now, I have feeling I'm gonna want to read the next book, but I also don't want to buy the second book without having the first book in my collection. But then at the same time, I could wait until it comes out of the library, because there are some books that they do bring to the library, but it might be a year from now before it's finally there. Let me see, when did this book come out? What's the copyright date? Copyright date. I think this came out last year, but it's... Oh, no, wait. No, it was this year. It was back in January. So I don't know how long I'm going to have to wait, a year or longer. I don't know, before The Wicked King comes to the library. Ideally, I would rather do that, but I hate waiting for a whole year until I can read the next one. Of course, most series it's that way, especially if it's a new series that just came out. So that's why I wait before, sometimes why I decide to wait. And those are what I'm thinking so far, and I'm almost done with it. I'm also going to read Winter, which I'm hoping, by Ali Smith, not Winter by Marissa Meyer. Winter by Ali Smith. It's the second book in her seasonal quartet. I already had Autumn and I read it, and my mom bought it for me for Christmas. And it's funny, like, she was like, when she saw it was in my bag to be books to be donated, because, as great of a book is, I don't know if I'll ever read it again. And she saw it was in that bag of books to be donated, because as I've said before, just because I'm donating a book does not mean I don't love it. I didn't love it. It's just, I'm moving on from it. Did you, she's like, I just got that book for you. Did you actually even read it? And, I wasn't sure. It's like, yes, I actually read it. You saw it. In fact, I remind her that she saw me, but reading it, but I don't know if she actually, remembers or was even paying attention when I pointed that out to her. So I decided to go, I saw this one at the library and decided to go ahead and get it and borrow it from the library. And with the writing style, Stream of Consciousness, I think I can get this done in a few days. And then I also have to read this one, Mr. Penumbra's 24-hour bookstore, about a young man who gets a job at a very unique bookstore, and that has a lot of certain selective customers. And I'm guessing it's very whimsical and fantastical or something, like maybe magical realism. I don't know, but it's about a bookstore, a magical bookstore, so, I'm all up on that. I also have the Paris Bookshop. I'm gonna read that one at some point. I don't know when. Maybe that will be one of the books I'll read this fall. Maybe in November or something. Okay, so I'm also currently reading the second book in Brandon Sanderson's The Mistborn series trilogy. This is The Well of Ascension. Although I guess it wouldn't be considered a series now because he wrote 3 more books, but in a different, it's many, many years later. So it's hard to really talk about this book and tell you anything unless I know you read the first book, and I don't know out of the people who watch me if they read the first book. But the first book is basically these group of people who were trying to overthrow this evil Lord Ruler, who was a tyrant, and the whole magic system involves swallowing, and it's fantasy, so it has this whole unique magic system where these people, they swallow metals that will give them powers to have abilities like really running fast and being able to see, to anticipate what's going to happen next if you're in the middle of a fight. Be really strong. It's kind of like X-Men type powers. And one of our main characters is Vin, who's this teenage girl who turns out to be a Mistborn, which is people who can do more than just one power. They're not, they can do multiple powers when swallowing metals. They can swallow multiple metals and do multiple things. And she is taken in as a mentee to Kelsier, who's leading the group who is trying to overthrow the Lord Ruler. And he is also a Mistborn. And they are basically trying to ignite a war. In our character of Vin, she disguises herself as a niece of a noble and infiltrates the noble people to incite conflict between the group of nobles. So that's all I'm gonna say. The second one is basically the consequence. What happens right after the first one is about the consequences of how the first one ended. And there's a lot of trust issues between the characters that needs to be built, and it's about the aftermath of this war that they started and how they're dealing with that. I haven't read a lot of this book, so not only can I not tell you much about it because you would have to have read the first book, but I also haven't read, even if I was psychic and you know that you guys have read the first book, I don't have really much to say about this, because I haven't, I do like just like the first book, I like the characters, I like the writing, it's very easy to understand despite the thickness of the book, and I like how it's not all perfect and hunky-dory with the characters. Like I said, I like how there's these trust issues established between these characters. And it's made it very complicated. It's a very complicated situation. So that's really all I have to say about this. I'm going to keep reading this. I'm reading this on and off because there's so many books I want to read, and I'm reading on and off. And I've also, I did get back into a little bit of this book, Night Film. I read a little bit more of this one. It's pretty good. It's interesting. Again, I haven't really, haven't really got the measure of the book yet. I do like how the chapters aren't that long. I like the whole little bit of mixed media in the story. It's very interesting. I'm definitely eager to find out what happens and, figure out the story behind the conflict and why, this story that he's investigating. This is definitely a very different book than what I'm used to. And I know a lot of people have complained about it, but I'm trying to actually read some of the books that I'm thinking about getting rid of. Actually reading them and then getting rid of them. And like I said, this is something that I don't read that often. I mean, I might watch movies about this kind of stuff, but I don't actually read books like this. Now, it's funny that the director in the story, because it's like this journalist is trying to investigate this famous filmmaker who, like, his daughter had committed suicide supposedly, and he's trying to investigate, did this really happen, and trying to and he's one of the director's one of those underground film directors who directs a lot of cult following films. They're very dark and very gothic films, and he's beloved by his followers, and actually the director makes me think of what is his name? The guy who directed Vertigo and Psycho and The Birds. I can't think of his name. I can see his face, but I can't think of his name. But if you guys know who I'm talking about, that's who the director in this book reminds me of. So I definitely am going to keep reading. I mean, who knows? Maybe eventually I'll realize what everybody else realized, and that the book isn't that great. Unfortunately, this video is getting really long, but so I'm not going to have to show you all the books that I want to read. But I actually decided to dip into this book. I got this from back in August when when the Gibbons bookstore had that sale on getting one sci-fi book, you get another one for free. This is Acacia, the book 1, The War with Maine. It's a fantasy book about this group of siblings and their father, raised by their widowed father. And he's someone that people are starting to lose faith in this king, or their father. And there's war that's brewing in Acacia. And I know that from the summary on the back that something's going to happen to the father, I believe. Like, already you find out early on that his advisor, Thaddeus, I think his name is, he's no longer on the king's side, and he found out some information that the king's father, his original father, betrayed Thaddeus, and was responsible for the death of his wife and child, his son. So now he wants revenge, but the king's father is dead. So now he's going to take out his revenge plan on the king himself. And he's starting to consider siding with the other side, the other kingdoms and chieftains or whatever. The kids kind of remind me of 4 of the Stark siblings a little bit. Robb, Arya, Sansa, and what are their names? What are the 2 boys? The 2 younger boys. I can't remember their names. The 2 younger boy siblings. Rickon, and Bran. Like a combination of those 2. That's, I'm sorry, Jon Snow. But yeah, it makes me think of them. Or maybe, although the youngest boy, he's not old enough to be like Bran or, completely like Bran, or even, Edmund Pevensey. But, so, and plus, I haven't got very far in this one. Like, I only got as far as what I just told you. It's really good and really interesting. And Sophie, you're stepping on my books. Get out of the way. So far I'm really liking it. Again, I haven't got very far in this one either. But I'm definitely interested. I definitely cannot wait to read more. The problem is that I am reading there are so many books that I have the urge to read right now, and I'm kind of in the middle of a fall. I'm in the mood for some autumn reads or books that make me think of autumn. And next month I'm gonna do like some scary reads combined with also some Victorian literature, and including books that weren't written in the Victorian period, but are kind of about that same time period, like The Essex Servant, for instance. I'm going to read that one next month as well. And one thing I might do is bring some of those with me to when I go up to visit my sister, because we're going to do apple picking and wine tasting at the end of September. So I probably bring those books with me. Okay, so the next book that I've dipped my toes in is a book that I saw on Elliot Brooks' shelf. And I started to really get into her, watching her videos, her reviews and stuff, and I'm starting to really interested in the books that she reads. And I saw this one on there, although it will be funny if I found out that she hadn't even read this book yet. But it's a series. I think it's up to book 3 is out. I think book 3 or book 4. I don't know how many books are out yet. This is an epic fantasy. You have a group of main characters who of course are a bunch of boys, but there are some girl characters in this. Like one of the characters is a sister we got her point of view. And again, it's hard for me to give a good summary when I haven't even gotten to the halfway point yet. But I'm trying to read the back here. Okay, it says there are sightings of giants, or giant worms, which I think are dragons. So, those who can still read the signs see a threat far greater than the ancient... Okay, let me read this little... I'll just go ahead and read the back to you guys. Corbin wants nothing more than to be warrior under King Brennan's rule, to protect and serve. But that day will come too soon, and the price he pays will be in blood. Evanus has sacrificed too much, it seems. But what he wants, the power to rule, will soon be in his grasp, and nothing will stop him once he has started on his path. Baradas is the newest member of the warband for the High Prince Nathair. He is one of the most skilled swordsmen to come out of his homeland, yet he always is under the shadow of his older brother. Nathair has ideas and a lot of plans. Many of them don't involve his father, the High King Quilius, nor does he agree with his father's idea to summon his fellow kings to council. The Banished Lands is a violent past where armies of men and giants clashed in battle, but now the giants stir anew. Stones weep blood, and there are signs of giant worms. Those who can still read the signs see a threat far greater than the ancient wars, for if the Black Sun gains ascendancy, mankind's hopes and dreams will fall to dust, and it can never be made whole again. So, like I said, it's hard for me to get my own actual summary in my own words, so it's just easier for me to read the back. But I definitely want to read more books, more of these hardcore fantasies, because, I've liked, Sophie, you're stepping on my books. Dogs and cats they don't care. They're selfish. They don't care if they step on your stuff. All they care about is you giving them attention. You selfish little things. Selfish but cute. Okay, so I want to start this one as well, because I'm trying to read some of the books that I have that were recommended to me on BookTube. Not directly recommended to me, but a booktuber some of my favorite booktubers have talked about certain books, and have gotten to my attention, like that one. Well, actually, no, that one doesn't count, because, Elliot Brooks didn't actually talk about the book, but I'm sure if she's I'm sure there's a video where she's talked about the book in the series. But of course, it could possibly be that she hasn't got around to it yet. There is a small possibility. I was just thinking about that. I was thinking how funny it would be if she hadn't actually read the series yet. But most likely she has, and there's a video out there where she has read it. I almost would like to, thinking about it now, almost would like to watch a video where she kind of does a little bit of review without spoiling it. But then I'm always worried that sometimes Although, I've started it, which is good. I mean, I didn't actually, when this happened with Brent Weeks's, I can't remember what the series is called. But anyway, there was a book that recommended by Brent Weeks, and I only had the first book, and I hadn't gotten around to read it. Then I started it, and it just felt kind of boring. I was watching other reviewers talk about the book and how they did. There was things about that was kind of sexist and everything that it kind of turned me off the book. Like, I don't like. I mean, which it's kind of like, I don't have a problem when you have a villainous character or a character that's just an asshole that is a little sexist, because I mean, he's an asshole anyway. You know, sexist isn't sexist towards women, because you can be sexist towards men too. So if that happens with, it's the same thing with a woman, you know. But I am a little biased being a woman myself. Then yeah, I'm fine with that. But you know, if these are the good, but if it's the good guys being sexist, you know, although the good guys in this book are kind of being sexist, but it's because of the time period that inspires the setting. Like, it's kind of a medieval type setting. But I do want to smack one of the characters, some of the male characters, because like in the book, you know, one of the male characters gets bullied by another male character, and so his sister defends his honor and punches the bully. But then it's like the brother is all mad at her because she happened to come to his defense because his sister defended him. And then, you know, and of course the other boy is going to make fun of him because, oh, you needed to be rescued by a girl. And then even his mentor or male adult figure was all like, you know, he was going to be a man soon. He doesn't need you, you know, defending him. It's going to make him sensitive. Now, I think the adult male character is a little bit, you know, a little smart, a little nicer, not as sexist, but still, I mean, I hate it when male characters, like, I will still read the book. I don't hate the book. I'm not going to dismiss the book. But with books, you're supposed to get emotional anyway. So it just drives me crazy when male characters are all like, I'm not saying they should take it out because, you know, considering the setting that this book is, then it makes sense that there's going to be male characters like that. But does that mean I don't feel the need to punch those male characters in the face and be all like, it's like, really? You know, it's like, really? So, oh my god, it's so offensive if a girl rescues you. It's like, because guys have been told their whole lives they gotta be strong and manly and they must do the same, and it just bruises their ego when a girl helps them out, even if it's their sister or their friend. It's like, how dare you help me? You're a girl, you're not supposed to. I mean, guys their egos are more fragile. So I'm just gonna talk about one more book that I think I'm gonna delve I hope this video uploads and I'm not wasting my time right now. But I'm just gonna mention this book real quick. So, like I said, I want to try to read some of the books that booktubers I like have talked about. And Olive from Book Olive did a review of this book, and she also compared it to the TV show. And of course, you know, it's TV shows, I mean, more movies more so than TV shows, but of course there were changes that she didn't like and everything that, you know, things that, and a lot of times TV, you know, screen adaptations have to change certain things, or choose to change certain elements. But yeah, I like what she said about this book. And this is not the only book here. Besides the ones by Elliot Brooks, there's another one. This particular, let me see if I can get this without. Also, this is another one that I want to read that she talked about as well, The Immortalist, which is basically four siblings who find out from the sidekick who came to their town when they were children, told them that how they were gonna die. So it's about how this influences their lives. Like, do they do anything differently? And this one is a young woman who comes to the city and gets a job at a local restaurant, and she gets caught in the middle between this couple that is a very toxic relationship. So I want to read those two books as well. But anyway, that's since this video is getting really long, and I don't know if I'm basically wasting time here, and that I'm gonna have to redo this video anyway. That's what I mean. I'm not wasting time making this video at all. It's just, I don't mean like wasting time with you guys or making. I mean like, is this video gonna be too long? There will be no point in me uploading it anyway. So anyway, I was gonna talk about more books, but again, this video is too long, and maybe I will do a part 2 of this video and talk about some of the other books I want to read this month and what I'm gonna do and what I want to do in October. Like some of the books I'm thinking about reading in October. But I hope you all are enjoying your reading. If you want to, feel free to share what you're reading in the comments section below. And if you like this video, be sure to subscribe. And first, subscribe if you haven't already. And if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. And I will talk to you all later. Alright, bye.